I was returning from dinner at my son's house, my hands still warm from the mug of tea he had pressed into them before I left. The night had settled gently over the road, the kind of quiet that feels earned after laughter, clinking plates, and stories told twice because no one minded hearing them again. My son hugged me longer than usual at the door. I remember thinking how strange that love can feel heavier as it grows older. The car hummed softly beneath me as I drove, streetlights passing like slow, blinking eyes. This road had known me for decades. I had driven it when I was young and hopeful, driven it when my heart was broken, driven it when I had learned how to swallow pain without choking on it. Tonight it felt unfamiliar, too still, as if it were holding its breath. My phone buzzed. I almost ignored it. At my age, nothing good ever comes from messages after dark. Only reminders of bills, aches, or news that steals sleep. But something in my chest tightened before I even looked, a quiet instinct I had learned to trust too late in life. Asterisk asterisk unknown number. Asterisk asterisk the message was short. Asterisk asterisk don't forget to look around. Asterisk asterisk I frowned, the glow of the screen lighting my face like a confession. I slowed the car, my eyes darting instinctively to the rear-view mirror. Empty road, no headlights, just darkness and the long ribbon of asphalt behind me. Look around? My fingers trembled as I typed back. Asterisk asterisk, is this a threat? Asterisk asterisk, for a moment, there was nothing. The silence pressed in, thick and suffocating. I told myself I was being foolish, probably a wrong number. A prank the mind plays cruel games when it's tired. The phone buzzed again. Asterisk asterisk, it's salvation. Asterisk asterisk, the word sat there, smiling at me. Salvation, a laugh escaped my throat, thin, brittle, unconvincing. Salvation had never found me before. Why would it start now, on a quiet road after a pleasant dinner? I pulled over near an old lamppost that flickered like it might give up at any moment. The engine idled, my heartbeat did not. I looked around, just as the message demanded. Trees swayed gently. A house in the distance had one light on, familiar, too familiar, and then I felt it, that sensation you get when a memory wakes up before your mind does. A cold awareness crawling up your spine. I had lived long enough to recognize it, the feeling that the past had finally decided to stand up and speak. My phone buzzed again, though no new message appeared. I stared at my reflection in the darkened window. The lines on my face told a story no one had ever asked me to finish. Years of endurance, of choosing silence over truth, of staying when leaving would have been easier, but crueler to a child who deserved stability more than honesty. I whispered to the empty car, "Who are you?" No answer came, but I knew, suddenly and with terrifying certainty, that whoever had sent that message knew me. Not the version of me my neighbors waved to, not the smiling parent my son adored. They knew the one who had been betrayed and had survived anyway. As I drove the rest of the way home, every shadow seemed intentional. Every passing house felt like a witness. When I finally reached my driveway, I sat there longer than I should have, gripping the steering wheel as if it could anchor me to the present. Before I stepped out of the car, my phone buzzed one last time. Asterisk asterisk, you've spent your whole life not looking. Tonight, that changes. Asterisk asterisk, the porch light turned on as I approached the door, though I was certain I hadn't left it that way. And for the first time in many years, I felt it clearly. The past wasn't behind me anymore, it was waiting. Sleep did not come that night. I lay in bed listening to the familiar creaks of the house, sounds I had once found comforting. Every wall held a memory, every corner echoed with a version of myself I had quietly buried. The message replayed in my mind like a whisper that refused to fade. Asterisk, don't forget to look around. Asterisk, I had spent my life doing the opposite. Morning arrived pale and reluctant, as though it too knew better than to be cheerful. I moved through my routine on instinct, tea kettle, window blinds, the chair by the table until my eyes fell on the old wooden cabinet in the corner of the room. I hadn't opened it in years, not because I'd forgotten what was inside, but because I had remembered too well. The cabinet held the things I never threw away because throwing them away would have meant admitting they still mattered. I opened it. Inside were letters tied with a faded ribbon, a bank statement folded too many times, and a photograph whose edges had softened with age. My spouse stood in that picture, smiling the way people do when they believe themselves untouchable. Beside them stood someone I had once trusted enough to call family. The betrayal had not arrived in one loud moment. It had seeped in quietly, like water through a crack, until everything I stood on was already rotting beneath my feet. I had discovered it by accident all those years ago. An overheard phone call, a name spoken too softly, a lie that didn't quite fit. I remembered standing in the kitchen, the smell of dinner burning while my world rearranged itself around the truth. There had been tears, denials, apologies that focused more on being caught than on the pain caused. And then there had been my son, small, innocent, needing stability more than justice. So I stayed. I swallowed my anger and called it strength. I folded my dignity into neat, invisible corners. I told myself that love meant endurance, that sacrifice was noble, that silence was safer than truth. Everyone praised me for being strong. No one ever asked what strength had cost me. Years passed. The betrayal was never mentioned again, but it lived on in the distance between us, in the way laughter sounded forced, in the way I stopped dreaming about a future that belonged to me. I thought it was over. I was wrong. The phone buzzed on the table, snapping me back into the present. Unknown number, asterisk asterisk, you forgave them. Asterisk asterisk, the message read. Asterisk asterisk, they never stopped. Asterisk asterisk, my breath caught. My hands felt numb as I stared at the screen. Asterisk never stopped. Asterisk, another message followed. Asterisk asterisk, look at the accounts, look at the dates, look at who benefited. Asterisk asterisk, my heart pounded as I pulled the old bank statement from the cabinet. I hadn't examined it in years. Back then, I had believed the explanation I'd been given: investments gone wrong, misunderstandings, bad luck. I wanted to believe it. Wanting had been easier than knowing. Now, with shaking fingers, I compared it to the recent financial mail stacked on the counter. The numbers told a story I could no longer ignore. Money siphoned away in small, careful amounts. Years of it. Enough to never raise suspicion, enough to fund another life, another loyalty. I felt something tear inside me, not loudly, not dramatically, but with the dull ache of an old wound being reopened. All those years of restraint, all that forgiveness offered to people who saw it not as mercy, but as permission. The phone vibrated again. Asterisk asterisk, you protected your son. Asterisk asterisk, the message said. Asterisk asterisk, they used him as their shield. Asterisk asterisk, tears finally came then. Silent, heavy, unstoppable, I had endured humiliation for love. I had chosen peace over confrontation. And in doing so, I had unknowingly become the foundation upon which their lies stood. I wiped my face and looked around the room. I had built this life. I had held it together with patience and quiet suffering. And now, someone, whoever they were, was forcing me to see it clearly for the first time. The betrayal had never healed because it had never ended, and as the truth settled into my bones, something else stirred alongside the pain. Not anger awakening. For the first time in decades, I did not feel small. I felt aware. My phone lit up once more. Asterisk asterisk, salvation hurts. Asterisk asterisk, it read. Asterisk asterisk, but it sets you free. Asterisk asterisk, I placed the phone face down on the table and straightened my back. If the past had chosen to return, then this time I would not look away. I stopped asking who was behind the messages. Part of me already knew the answer wouldn't bring comfort, only clarity. And clarity, I was learning, was far more dangerous than fear. Days passed outwardly unchanged. I still called my son, still watered the plants, still smiled at neighbors who believed they knew my story. But inside me, something had shifted, I was no longer drifting through my life on habit alone. I was watching. Listening, looking around, just as I had been told. The next message arrived in the early afternoon. Asterisk, asterisk, you deserve the truth in daylight. Asterisk, 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 meet me. Asterisk, asterisk, an address followed, familiar enough to tighten my chest. An old cafe near the courthouse, the kind of place people went when they wanted conversations to feel accidental. I almost didn't go. Almost. But I had spent too many years almost choosing myself. The cafe smelled of burnt coffee and dust. Sunlight filtered through streaked windows, illuminating floating particles like tiny, suspended confessions. I sat at a corner table, my hands folded calmly in front of me. Too calmly, considering my heart was pounding like it wanted to escape. Then I saw them, older, yes, time had softened some edges, sharpened others, but recognition struck instantly. This was no stranger. This was someone who had once stood close enough to my life to breathe the same air. They sat across from me without asking. You look surprised, they said gently. I look awake, I replied. A smile touched their lips, slow, knowing, and unkind. That was when I understood the message. Salvation did not arrive with warmth. It arrived with precision. You forgave them. They continued, stirring their coffee. I watched you do it, over and over again. Why now? I asked. Why come back after all this time? They met my eyes, because they're careless now, and because you're ready. I felt a strange steadiness settle over me as they slid a folder across the table. Inside were copies, emails, financial transfers, dates I recognized too well. Proof not only of betrayal, but of arrogance. They had never believed I would look, never believed I would question. They lied to your son, the stranger said quietly. About money, about loyalty, about you. That hurt more than anything else. I closed the folder slowly. And you, what do you gain from this? Another smile, this one almost sad, watching the truth finally breathe. I stood to leave, but before I did, I asked the question that had been burning since the first message. Why call this salvation? They leaned closer, because it saves you from dying without ever being seen. I walked out of the cafe into blinding sunlight, my steps unsteady but determined. The world looked cruelly beautiful, the way it does when illusions fall away. I realized then that revenge didn't have to scream. It didn't need blood or broken glass. It needed timing. Over the following weeks, I moved carefully. I spoke to lawyers who specialized in quiet justice. I gathered documents without confrontation. I asked gentle questions that revealed more than accusations ever could. Every lie they told became another thread tightening around them. When the moment came, it was almost anticlimactic. The accounts were frozen, the truth presented cleanly, legally, without emotion. My son read the documents in stunned silence. I watched his face break, not with rage, but with grief. I'm sorry, I said, placing a hand over his. I thought protecting you meant protecting them. He looked up at me then, truly looked, and shook his head. You protected them from consequences, he said softly. Not me. That night, my phone buzzed one last time. Asterisk, asterisk, they are exposed. Asterisk, asterisk, the message read. Asterisk, asterisk, how do you feel? Asterisk, asterisk, I looked at my reflection in the dark window. The person staring back at me was older, yes, but straighter, lighter. Asterisk, asterisk, free. Asterisk, asterisk, I typed. The reply came instantly. Asterisk, asterisk, then my work is done. Asterisk, asterisk, I deleted the number and set the phone aside. Salvation had not come to save me from pain. It had come to teach me how to stop carrying it for others, and somewhere deep inside, I felt the quiet satisfaction of knowing this was not the end. It was the beginning. Revenge, I learned, does not always announce itself. Sometimes it arrives softly, like morning light slipping through curtains, revealing dust where you once believed the air was clean. There were no raised voices when everything finally collapsed, only the sound of truths landing exactly where they belonged. The house felt different after the truth came out, lighter, as if it had been waiting years for honesty to walk through the door. I opened windows I had kept shut for too long and let the air move freely, carrying away the scent of old compromises. My son came over one evening just before sunset. He didn't knock. He never needed to. "I've been remembering things," he said as he sat across from me. "Moments that didn't make sense back then. Your silence, your tired smiles." I nodded. "I thought I was protecting you." "You were," he replied gently. "Just not from the right thing." That was the moment the final knot loosened inside my chest. No courtroom victory could have matched it. No apology could have rivaled it. Understanding, real understanding, was the sweetest justice of all. The people who had betrayed me faded quickly once the truth was exposed. Their world shrank. Friends distanced themselves. Doors closed without explanation. They reached out once, tentatively, as if hoping I would save them the way I always had. I didn't respond. Silence, I realized, could also be a consequence. One night, weeks later, I stepped outside as the porch light flickered on. The same porch light I had noticed the night everything began. The air was warm, calm, forgiving. I looked around, really looked this time. No shadows felt threatening anymore. No memories chased me. The past stood where it belonged, acknowledged, but no longer in control. My phone vibrated for the first time in weeks. Asterisk, asterisk, unknown number. Asterisk, asterisk, I stared at it for a long moment before opening the message. Asterisk, asterisk, you looked around. Asterisk, asterisk, it read. Asterisk, asterisk, you chose yourself. Asterisk, asterisk, I typed back slowly, deliberately. Asterisk, asterisk, yes. Asterisk, asterisk, there was a pause. Then one final message arrived. Asterisk, asterisk, then you are saved. Asterisk, asterisk, I didn't reply. I didn't need to. I turned off the porch light and stepped back inside, closing the door gently behind me. The house welcomed me, not as someone enduring, but as someone at peace. Revenge had come not in flames, but in balance. Not in cruelty, but in truth. Those who had taken from me lost the power to define me. Those who had built lies on my silence were left standing alone in the wreckage of their own making. As for me, I slept deeply that night, and for the first time in a very long life, I dreamed of tomorrow.